Yo.
What's happening?
What's up, buddy?
Well, just another week.
My old friend Jimmy Sherman just tagged in.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Long time. He's a Locust Street friend right there. That's 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So how was your weekend, man?
Good. Kids had my son had basketball. That's always fun. Although they went 500 for the weekend. He played pretty well though. So
okay.
Yeah. Did you do anything?
No, just had a casual weekend in South Florida. That was it. Just hung out with the wife, ran some errands, did a lot of nothing, which is fine. Go out to dinner.
You enjoyed the weather. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just, as we wait for some people to come into the live stream, that's why we're doing this little banter. But actually, I heard and I've seen that the weather up there has not been conducive to having a good time outside.
Depends on who you are.
I guess so. I was seeing on social media, it was pretty interesting. A lot of comments.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Some good, some not so good about the plowing and the road conditions. And I was curious, what was your experience? And if anybody watching wants to call in and tell us if you had a good experience or a bad experience. I mean, I guess the DPW does the best they can, but there were some people that weren't happy. Did you have a good experience, bad experience?
Boy, that's an interesting question because overall I had a terrible experience because one of the shear pins on my machine went. So I had to have help. And some of it I obviously did with a shovel, and I got a lot to move. But anyway, as far as my driveway is concerned, I mean, the only complaint I ever really have is they keep plowing it back in front. And I understand that that's just the nature of the beast, and I got to suck it up. But I did notice that they were the intervals between. There was a period where they were like 8 to 10 hours, I think it was, or 12 hours maybe. And I guess we didn't have a backup crew, and you can't expect that same crew to go all night.
So they can't go 24 hours, right?
Right. So I think that's the gist of what happened. By the way, I'm kind of glad you brought this up because one of the things we're going to talk about tonight is, how boy, this is going to get light a fire here, but how, when you settle a contract, what that choice means to the overall budget and to the overall services of the community. So I'm glad you're bringing this up.
So somebody just, and I kind of figure this, that again, if they're commenting from the Facebook group, we won't see their name, but we can check it on the phone. But DPW is incredibly short-staffed. To have 11 employees plowing an entire town it's pretty difficult. They worked 26 hours straight, according to this person, which is, listen, if they're short-staffed, they do the best they can with what they got, right?
Yeah, it's Hannah. I was just going to say.
Okay. Good evening, Hannah. Good evening.
Well, and I guess
what were you saying? I'm sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off there, but I guess the equipment. I mean, this has always been a thing for us. The equipment, some old trucks, some small. We don't have all the big monsters with the big blades, so it takes more passes. There are limitations. Again, it's about choices in elections and what all that means.
Right. So you were going to talk about budget. Is that what you were segueing
Yeah,
into?
I think I wanted to, before we get to any of that though. I think if did you have any updates on any? I don't know if you had any updates on any upcoming town meetings.
Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
I'm gonna go out of this. That way people can see the screen. We'll just look at the comments on the side.
Okay.
They couldn't see the number. I'm sorry. What were you saying, buddy?
Do you have any updates on town meetings? I don't know if you happen to catch anything that you might have seen on the calendar.
Yeah, the diversity meeting.
Okay.
The diversity, inclusion, and community relations committee.
Commission for the, yeah.
Commission, committee, panel. Is there a real difference?
Not really.
Let me really ask you that question. Honestly, what is the difference in Winthrop between a commission and a committee? If somebody could explain that to me, and a board. Like this, you have boards, committees, commissions. Like, does it really have to be that convoluted? Is it all in? What's in a name?
Yeah,
what's in a name? Right?
I think I remember seeing a poster like that somewhere.
Yeah. So they're having, and this is interesting. They're having a meeting. Let me put it up here. Actually, I don't know if you can read it, but
I can see it.
Yeah. The Commission for Diversity, Inclusion, and Community Relations is having a meeting February 9th at 6 p.m. in the Harvey Hearing Room. Their agenda is roll call, update DPH grant, Department of Public Health, right? Discuss transcript article. I don't know what that could possibly bring. Discussing an article in the newspaper. Discussion. Where can CDICR assist? Or is it where can they inject themselves? There's two sides to the coin and how people see it.
That's right. Yep.
Public comment. If nobody goes, that'll be a quick one. Unless they do a Zoom meeting, they can let people come in on Zoom. But
I think Father Walter's watching, and if he is, I would hope he would just put a comment up here because I made public comment. But
okay.
I want to know if I'm one of 10, one of 20, one of 15, or one of 1.
As far as
how many people have shown up and made public comment?
Okay. So you know what? But I believe this was on the website, the town website, right?
Okay, good. All right, so it worked. We helped them understand.
Yeah, and so why can't all of them be on the town website? It just it's not. And so I know people can look at us and say, "Oh, they're nitpicking. They're nitpicking. We nitpicked about the flag. We're nitpicking about stuff, being put on the town website." It's just convenient to have it put on the website. It's just convenient so people don't have to drive over there, walk up to that door, go in the door, look at the board, and then leave, when they could just do it if they're on the train coming home,
Well,
just makes sense.
I like in the software as a service industry, and online e-commerce industry. It's all about frictionless experience, and government has always been a friction-full by design experience, but getting information out is something that should be the least friction-full. So I do think I think it's a fair criticism that they don't have to post it out on the website, but it's good that they do because it encourages transparency.
And like I said last week, it's 2022, not 1822.
Right.
Come on. We only have to post it just because the governor says you can post it 48 hours. It doesn't mean just take the extra step. Like I said, it's 2022. And they're still posting physical postings on a bulletin board. Are you kidding me?
I'm gonna carve it in a piece of.
Yeah. What's like I said? The town crier gonna come out. Ding, 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 ding. A posting has been made. Ding, 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 ding. Hear ye. Come on, Winthrop.
More good news. So,
we got our first call. Hold on.
I got more to go here too. This is good.
Hold on. You're on Winthrop Votes live stream.
I live in Erie, PA, and I've been snowed in for 2 weeks, and they haven't gotten to me yet.
Well, I'll call the Winthrop, Mass. Department of Public Works to get out there as soon as they can.
Well, I just wanted to tell you, I can't even get milk and bread because they keep calling me over.
Okay.
You said Erie, PA?
Yeah.
Erie, I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania.
I'll make a phone call.
Call Biden.
Those rabbits there. They need to get out there and start plowing for me.
You got it, buddy. And how's this? I'll call you back when I get the Winthrop Department of Public Works to go over there and help you.
Get them all together.
I will.
Need them together.
All right. Thanks for calling, buddy.
Bye, sweetheart.
Sweetheart.
Okay.
We're starting to draw them, buddy.
Yeah.
We're starting to draw them.
You got to be careful now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have minutes. Remember, we talked about minutes. So I think I want to, I was reading through these and I said, this is probably a good idea to tie off some of the subjects we had brought up in the past about the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Community Relations Commission. And I've been hard on this commission, and I feel
we both have. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like I have good reason to be. I mean, look, I'm going to go through just some things, and then, we can kind of bring it up. We can kind of discuss this as we go. So we got one of the meeting notes was from the September 22nd meeting when Meredith Hurley updated the commission on the And Still We Rise program. The highlights for me are, or lowlights, if you say. The bottom line here is this. They were looking for 3 sessions. I think the dates are off on here. They were hoping for October. It's finishing up here in the new year. I don't know where they are on the grant. But the question is this really a community effort? Looking at the goal was to be looking at community trauma with an equity lens in response to the double murder on that day. I mean, I'm not trying to be a jerk here. The question is, did enough people who had a trauma get involved in this, and why didn't they? And forget that. Was it a success? I would say based upon the attendance, no.
And what does that tell you?
A lot of different things can be inferred here, I think.
Yeah.
From that.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
oh yeah. Hey, one of them is they're not interested in that. It's not a thing to them.
Oh, maybe they didn't agree, right? So let's take
nobody liked it. I think 100% of the people didn't like what happened. And 100% of the people were mortified when they heard it. And even former Winthrop residents were mortified to hear that. But then, still we rise. I mean,
so you're right. As a community, I would agree with you. 100% of the people that anyone would have any serious conversations with, I think it's fair to say we're appalled by the event regardless. Some of us may disagree with motivations or whatever,
We'll never know.
We'll never really know. Some of us may disagree with what to call it, right? There's a lot of semantics at play in this. White supremacy comes up, right? It's rantings of a madman. I don't want to relitigate that.
Yeah.
Right? The point being, my point is, if you are truly about equity, inclusion, fairness, and looking at the community trauma with an equity lens and all this other stuff, you have to kind of ask yourself a question. Why are people like you and I's viewpoints on this from this particular commission's completely shunned or not considered?
Yeah, if we disagree with them, then we're racist.
Right.
And they can say, no, we don't call names. You don't have to say it. You You just know that if you disagree with them on this, if you're even against it, then there's something wrong with you.
So here's another note from this meeting, and I'll be. This is kind of nitpicky stuff, but it all adds up. So 911 reverse call. This Equity and Inclusion Commission wants to find out if there's a possibility of expanding languages. Okay, not a big deal on its face, right?
Yeah.
I guess, but is it honestly fair question? Is it racist to think it would be common sense to want to learn the language of the country that you live in, where the most people are using it, so that you can get along easier? Or am I?
You know what? I was stationed in the Philippines for 2 years.
Yeah.
Just 2 years. I learned to speak the language. I was going to be there for 2 years. I learned to speak the language. And Tagalog is not an easy language to learn. It's a lot of consonants in a row.
How do you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Like that? Like there's no.
But I mean, and this isn't. We're not going to go down a rabbit hole with this.
Wow.
I'm sure there's systems out there that can translate with the phone call.
Sure.
If someone speaks Spanish, it will translate it to English to the person at the other end of the phone for 911.
Right. So so now wouldn't that just be to the earlier point, common sense, right? Like you got the tech, just buy it. Why do we have to have this discussion about it? Just buy the tech.
How about giving people incentives to learn Spanish? Because that's probably the prominent language,
Sure.
right? So you give people incentive that work there to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So if you remember, Scott, do you remember we were looking for the minutes from the meeting before?
Wait. I'm sorry. Hannah said maybe they're learning or haven't been here long. Yeah. Well, again, I was stationed in the Philippines for 2 years. I lived there for 2 years. I had a learning curve, of course, but at least I was trying. That's my point. At least I was trying. And you can't tell me that there's people that come here, and every single one of them, 100% of the people come here that don't speak English, try to learn English. No.
They don't.
No.
I had
They
one.
don't.
I had a guy that worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Yeah, I used to work with. I used to deal with truckers.
Yep.
Down here in South Florida, and a lot of truckers are Latin, and if you pull them over, all of a sudden they don't speak English. It's amazing until you say, "Call your supervisor." Then all of a sudden they understand. Give me a license. They understand that. But when you ask them questions, no, I don't know. I don't know. It's just experience.
Games people play. So the big meeting before the event at Metcalf Square. You remember that? The protest and what the role of the commission should be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first I just want to take a step back. Okay. I was there from basically start to finish. The very first day I was there, and I want to get this on the record because this does, in my opinion, this matters, okay? Because I'm going back to this commission right here that I have a problem with, that I don't think they're trying hard enough to be diverse and equitable. The very first day I was there, I was sitting in front of the library and I was watching the group set up that was there to support the police. They were there to have a demonstration to support police. I watched them. I was there a good half hour. They were singing, dancing. Their flags were flying. They were waving at vehicles going by. Their signage was not hateful in any way. Then I looked down Pauline Street towards Nick's, and I see a group starting to move towards Metcalf Square, and I see a flag flying. And as it comes closer, it's a big Black Lives Matter flag. They're there for 3 minutes once they get set up, and immediately it's Nazis go home, Breonna Taylor, say her name. The hate that
they're angry.
Yes. And now the other side fired back, but here's the point.
Yeah.
Who started it? Who were the instigators? if anyone can deny who the instigators were in this particular situation, I can't have a serious conversation with you. I can't.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, so you were saying that the diversity, I'll just say the diversity commission, board, whatever. They wanted to know what part they could play in this. Is that what the?
Yeah. So what is the role of the commission? These are just the notes. Gathering protesters from beyond Winthrop and refuses to wear masks. So basically the pro-Trump, we'll call them for simple words. People, most of them were not from Winthrop. That's absolutely fair. There was one person there from Winthrop who actually was friendly with Diana and called her. So that's a fact. That's true. They weren't wearing masks. And the next line here says counter protest of BLM and allies. So are they saying here, I don't know of the role of the commission, if they're suggesting that they should have been in there, but they absolutely should not. What they're talking about here is very, very much inappropriate. Police details need for public order, but no permit required. I don't really know what that means. Major concern of commission is that many protesters are not wearing face masks, given that the Board of Health is requiring masks is publicly in publicly frequented spaces. Well, first of all, that didn't age well. Motion. They made a motion that the town equally apply Board of Health requirements for face masks, moved by Walter that doesn't matter. So they made the motion. It was passed. It's meaningless because they don't have to take the advice. I don't know. I don't know what they did. I have no idea. But I bring up this whole story to say this, and Jared's comment is true. I was there for the whole thing. If I was going to put a scale about who said more hate, I don't think it really matters, because at the point that the instigation started is when everything went downhill. And I'm not going to throw any names out there here because I happen to like this person very much, but they serve on the commission. They were there on the side of the BLM people. I can't say for sure if that person was spewing the Nazis go home and all that other hate. I can't say for sure, so I won't. No matter, you're picking a side, and you're on a commission appointed by the community of equity and inclusion, right? So if anyone should be on that commission, it should be me, because I was standing on Switzerland, taking no sides.
Yeah, you were technically like my cameraman.
That's right.
You were going live.
I was going live. So
yeah. I mean, the whole thing is kind of a stain. I don't care what side that whole thing was just a stain, but it happened. And people get worked up and they want to voice their opinions. But overall, hindsight, it was a stain,
It was, and I don't want to. You're right, it was, and I don't want to get lost.
Nothing good came out of it
on that, because for me, at the end of the day, and we can move on to the next topic, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to say, if this committee, if this commission wants to be taken more seriously, they have to, first of all, make it more equal, and they have to start including people's opinions that completely disagree with them, because they're only talking in an echo chamber right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, we beat that one up.
Beat it up. Moving on.
I guess there is a commission, a committee, a board. There we go again. Already put together. Jim Lettieri wasted no time in putting together, and that's one of the things he said he was going to do. So he's 1 for 1. He put a board together pretty fast. Said he only came in a month ago. A month and some change.
Born in January 20th, I think.
Okay.
Or something, mid-January.
Yeah, so less than a month. He already put a board together. I think I have it right here. It's read out of the transcript. So, Town Council President Jim Lettieri said the council announced Tuesday the members of the Town Manager Selection Committee. Karen Chavez will chair the committee. The members will include Lisa Howard or her designee, Rob DeMarco, friend of the show, John Massero, Shannon Poulos, Vinnie Crossman, and Peter Gill.
Can we leave that up there, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just for a minute.
Yeah.
first of all, I think it's fantastic that the person who I feel pretty confident should be on the town council is at least chairing this very important committee.
Good for her.
Yeah. And that, this is a testament to who she is. So Jim did a great job with that. I think the one counselor that he picked from the town council is the perfect pick. Rob's been on there, has been on there for a few years now, has demonstrated a level head, and has made some pretty good decisions. But I have to be honest, the one I'm most pleased with is Shannon Poulos. And she serves on the Citizens Finance Advisory Committee for us. She is actually a CFO at Bain Capital. So this young woman is no joke. She's really smart. She has a great handle on the town's budget, and she's taught me a lot. And she's going to be a great asset there.
Excellent, excellent. And I think there was a list of potential candidates. I don't have that right now. Would you happen to have it?
You mean the town manager, the actual applicants?
Yeah.
There is a list. I do not have it.
Let's see.
I do not have it, but I wonder, I'm sure it should be just posted somewhere, no?
I'm not sure. But, we're live. I suppose I could have done this earlier. Let me see. It's in the transcript. It's probably the only thing worth reading in the transcript, actually, this week.
It's
a rag.
Most weeks.
It's the penny saver.
Yeah.
It's the penny saver.
Yeah.
I wonder, are they going to be talking about the candidates? Are they going to, this is a big deal. Do you think they might want to interview some of these people and let the people know? No, they won't do that. No. But if one of them wants to come on, Winthrop Votes Live, we'd be more than glad to have them on.
Well, that would be actually, if I could get the candidates on, really, to talk directly.
Yeah, they're going to be presenting in front of the board, but it would just be a conversation on their thoughts and maybe their ideas.
Oh, that is, though. Those environments are always so controlled. And you don't have to, again, I think we've proven you don't have to ambush people to have a good conversation.
No, we wouldn't do that. People, I suppose if we did, though, if we did ambush people, we'd have more views. For some reason, people like that.
Yeah, well, you're right.
They do. They love that type of. But if you want to watch that, go to Fox or CNN or ABC, NBC, CBS. We're not going to do that. It's Winthrop. We're nice people in Winthrop.
Well, we're supposed to be trying to get the community more involved. And I think as a segue, I think the big topic tonight, I know, excuse me, newly elected Lane Petrie knows this better than anybody at this point, that there's a teacher's contract under negotiations. And while many will think I'm going to bring this subject up tonight to pick on the teachers, it's not that. It's just that it's easier to demonstrate the point with the largest negotiating body in the town. It just makes the point seem more extreme, but it's also more realistic, right? I mean, if you're going to pick the DPW, what do they got, 14 employees? That figure is not going to compare to the over 300 that are in the school district. I mean, by far away, it's the biggest single department. And it requires the biggest budget. And it has a budget buster built into it. They have a budget busting program called Steps and Lanes built into it. So I want to explain that first.
All right.
So Steps and Lanes, and I'm going to keep it simple because that's how I understand it, is essentially for, you get credits in education, master's plus 1, 2, 3. You can go up to a CAGS category. For every one of those you achieve, you get a lane or a step. And every year of service, you get some formula, you get a lane and a step. Every time you go up, it's like climbing a ladder, you get more money. This, now, I have reached out to get 100% accurate information. I did ask Jim a while ago because Jim is the Terry, because he is very smart with the budget. His number is $900, actually more, but to be fair, his number is $900,000 a year is what those cost us right away, like before you even settle an agreement or pay for the actual contracted raise or your base salary. That is just $900,000 that we need to come up with. Do you think I said that in simple enough terms? Because it took me a while to get it. Okay. So that being the case, we talk about choices right now. To your point earlier about the griping about the snowplow and not having a second shift. Elections have consequences. People who are elected in this town, they vote on contracts. They know when they're presented with a contract, here's what they do know. We've got the first year figured out because these contracts run in 3-year cycles. We'll figure out year 2 and year 3 when we get there. And 99% of the time, it leads to some type of degradation of services, whether it's a retirement that doesn't get replaced, a retirement that gets replaced with a less experienced person, all of that stuff, right? And listen, this isn't about who deserves what. You know, it's about choices, okay? Our basis that we work off of to figure out what the added cost is going to be each year is essentially the total expenditure on salaries and benefits, right? So 2021, fiscal 2022, I think it is. Don't worry about the years too much. Was a $22.9 million appropriation to the school district, of which $19.4 million was salaries and benefits. Okay. Now, your basis is $20.3 million, not the $19.4 million, because you have to add $900,000 for steps and lanes, because every year that number comes up. Okay. So $20.3 million of your salary, of your budget, is the basis. 1% of that is $203,000. Full stop. What do you think you can get done in government with $203,000? What do you think you can get done in a school district? How many classes could you add? How much money should you put in the budget line to do that regular scheduled maintenance that never gets done? Right? When the community's complaining about the deplorable conditions of the playground or whatever's not being maintained. How much does $203,000? That's the question. So, and then by the way, this is when it gets even juicier. And again, this is not meant who deserves what. This is just math. This is just what happens.
Yeah.
If you give 2%, it's not just doubling 203,000, because now your basis has gone up. So your basis went from 20.3 million to 20.503 million, because you got to add that first 203K. And then the 900K again for steps and lanes has to go on top of that. So you add another 1.1 million. So now your basis is 21.3 million. So 2% is more than, I haven't done the numbers. I'm not going to slow us down. Obviously 2% is over $400,000. We're going to have this money covered, by the way. Whatever they give this year, if they decide to negotiate and give a 2.22 or 3 or whatever, and now we're really talking trouble. We have the money in COVID money. Here's where it gets really cute, and people think, well, you can't spend the COVID money on that. Okay, you can't. So you take all the COVID money and you load it up into all of the COVID approved line items. And then you just take money out of those line items here and there to cover up and move it over into the salary line to pay the raises. That is, it can be done. It is done. Everybody knows that's what you do. It's not a secret, but that's how that's what they do. And that's one-time money. So by year 3, we're going to have probably a $1.8 million shortfall that we need to figure out where we're going to get that money. And everybody in the negotiating team hopefully is watching this, and they know that now.
And it's definitely not a case of, you don't want it to be a case of, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. No. Not with budgets.
No. And so, or, hey, give the raise. That's fine. You were elected to decide for the people in Winthrop that elected you. So it's a representative government, but understand that when the bitchin' comes back about no sidewalks, and by the way, sorry about the language, the people who are watching that don't ever run for office, but do find the time to be upset about services, which it's every bit you're right, understand why and understand that we make decisions. I have opinions. Maybe you might have opinions on how to solve that problem, but the only way it gets solved is by dealing with our payroll. That is the only way.
Yeah.
And whether that means, by the way, an override every year to cover the increased costs, because you're not going to develop your way out of it, because every time you add property tax, there's a cost that automatically comes out of the budget. We've already been down that road, so that's not going to do anything.
And the contract right now, negotiations are going on right now?
Yes. So they had their first meeting. I think they're going to be having another one. They might have had one this week. We don't get to know much about these.
Yeah.
Because
we probably shouldn't. There's a reason we don't get to know about the negotiations.
Well, that goes two ways. You're right. You're absolutely right. Right. Like,
yeah.
But there is this, like, would it, like, hypothetically, would it, if we knew, could you have some type of influence on the knuckleheads on the school committee that are negotiating these things and I'm not saying about these few in particular, but of the past who have made these bad deals before?
Well, if you want to be heard, email them, call them, tell them what you think. You know, instead of, you can't influence. That's why negotiations are behind closed doors. You can't have any outside influence. These people were put in that position to make those decisions, right? Or we wouldn't have negotiations. It would just be a madhouse. Because if there was public influence, then it would never get done. It would never get done.
Well, you know what? Good. I mean, now here's my transparency. I mean, listen, I think you may have seen it. I got a nasty gram in Facebook today, in email, in private message, and that's fine. I can take the criticism. That's not the point. But the point is, this person thinks my desire to deal with our budget in a different way I'm actually for a meritocracy. I don't believe all humans are created equal in their ability to produce across the board, meaning not every human can play football the same way, or not every human can be as good of an accountant as the other one, right? Not everybody's cut out to be. So there are specialists, and I think that the best ones deserve to be compensated the best. And if the other people complain about it, well, vote with your feet.
So the problem with merit-based is favoritism. It's always been the number one problem with merit. You have somebody is going to think they did better than somebody else who got more money than them. Doing the step like they do in the government. I mean, I worked with some hacks. I'm telling you, not everyone I worked with was high speed. I'm telling you, I worked with some hacks, and they got a raise every year. They got a step every year. Step promotion. Step raise.
Go ahead, sorry.
It's actually kind of a promotion because the GS service, so like a GS 11 step 1, GS 11 step 2. The first 7 years in customs, get a raise every year. First 7 years. I don't know another job that does that, but so they put those steps in there so everything is across the board. There's no issues about favoritism. And, there's no grievances.
Well, there's so here. All right. So here's the knock, right? So there's still issues about favoritism in the school district. I lived it, and there's grievances all the time. The town of Winthrop spends a ton of money dealing with grievances. At least
the grievances about pay is one thing that's off the board if you have step.
Right. Well, it's also off the board if you're employed at will because you can go pound sand. But that's another story. All I'm suggesting is this. You're right that sometimes favoritism can play a role. However, there are hundreds of millions, if not billions, of employees now in all across the board in the types of jobs they do that are paid. They get some type of, depending upon the company, they get some type of base pay raise, but they're getting incentives that are based upon their production, whatever that might be, whether it's sales, widgets, And Hannah Belcher makes a good point that jobs like teaching can be difficult, but it can be done. And I'll give her an example that I studied, and they've done away with this because the union was brilliant. In Denver, they had a merit-based program. They offered in a contract negotiation year, and I forget the name of the program, but they offered two options. You could take the standard raise, whatever it was, let's just call it 1%, or you could opt in over this side where you get 0.5%, and then here are the tiers of how you and your team can help you all get there. So that it was a team environment. It was all vetted by educators. There were numbers attached to, it was a point scoring system. It was based upon a subjective way to score points, but the subjective categories, if you will, were agreed upon by educators, union members, everybody. So whoever chose for it. It at one point had a 70% adoption rate in the school district, and it was in St. Paul too. And then somehow, some way, I don't know what happened, but they turned it around, and there were people sabotaging. There were people fired for sabotaging like outcomes and test scores, because that was part of the merit. If your team brought up averages from A to B or whatever it was. So there was
the 1%ers aren't going to like that. The freelancers are getting more money than them.
Right. That's what happened.
And that's what happens. You get, again, hacks. There's hack teachers too. And there's some in the Winthrop school system, from what I understand.
There's some in every work environment. That is absolutely factual.
Now, how would that affect what you? So the formula that you just presented. Yeah. You said it was from Denver.
Yes.
If Winthrop were to implement that for their teachers, would that cost us more money?
So that would have to be looked at, obviously, but I would imagine that. I would imagine that in the early days it would, until you kind of vetted out the people who were taking the regular raise. I think it would, and then once you got to a place where, hey, you're making X because you're not hitting these levels. And if they're happy there, right? Say maybe someone's happy. You know what? Maybe someone's happy that they're only getting a little bit of extra bonus versus a bigger bonus. Who knows? But it makes more room for other people. And you're right. It doesn't necessarily answer the question, will it save us money? But here's the thing it does do. It does give the town of Winthrop elected officials the opportunity to go back to the town and say, look, we're trying. The teachers have stepped up. They're trying. They're working on a compensation, a meritocracy.
So earlier, and I saw this, Jared brought up a point, and since the teacher will never, ever go for zeros and ones, let's move towards a merit-based pay for any new teachers coming in. The remaining teachers can stay on steps and lanes. So through attrition, they'll do away with steps and lanes. But will merit-based cost more money?
And I don't have an answer. That's
because you can't budget for merit-based. You don't know what that's going to be.
Well, yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where steps is, you know what it is. You have a flat number, right? Where merit-based, some are going to get more than others. You can't confine it to within a budget, because then the merit doesn't work, because you just limited somebody, because, we're getting to the end of the budget. We're about to, and so we can't give you what we want to give you.
But you budget it. You need to have history. That's the thing, right? Like you need to be able to predict somewhat by using history. It's like the same way we do the raises now. And you're not wrong. I mean, it's going to be different. It's going to be harder, but we have to do something different. We absolutely have to, because it's absolutely, listen, I'm not going to get into this tonight, and I'm not going to say it's Winthrop that the really creepy stuff has happened, but there are people in teaching that are being just moved around state to state, school district to school district, who have done terrible things to children. You can get on that is it Turtle Boy? I think they do the teacher pedophile of the week story or something like that, right?
Turtle Boy, yeah.
There's Turtle Boy. There's way too much protection in that union. And what's very, very, it's not ironic, it's not by accident, the amount of money that these teachers unions donate to state and federal level Democratic politicians is enormous. But that's not the point of tonight. But I did want to throw that out there, because voting matters, right? If we could get all these locals for the teachers union to break up, we just took back power for our schools. And I don't know how to make it happen, but it needs to happen. Listen, let's look at it this way. Let's do this math. How's this? I hope there's some teachers listening who are mad at me, who think it doesn't pay the bills. I get it. It's a low-paying job, but I can't feel bad. You knew going in. So thank you for that, what I thought was a sacrifice you were making. Thank you for that. But let's do this math here. My wife used to be in the union. I believe her dues were at a minimum $80 a month. Okay? $80 a month were her dues. So she made, I'm not going to, well, yeah, you can look it up online if you want. She makes 39,123. If she gets 1%, that's $390. It costs her more to pay the union than the raise she gets. They're not looking, it's the bosses at the top that are getting all the money, that are driving the nice cars, that are getting all the access. They don't care about their members, only to brainwash them to follow them.
They're more, the higher up in these unions, the more political they are.
Exactly.
That's all there is to it. Even my union, the National Employee Treasury Union, National Treasury Employees Union. Yeah, the higher, they're in D.C. That's where the headquarters is. I mean, it's all political. But interestingly enough, my wonderful stepson is graduating from FSU in April with a degree in physics, right? Now, he could apply for the government. He could apply to NASA. He could apply to all these these upstart laboratories. He wants to be a teacher. So, yeah, he already got his certificate for student teaching, and he wants to be a teacher. He knows that there's really not a lot of money in it, but it's like almost, I guess he wants to follow in his mom's footsteps. She was a college associate professor, and she taught in a number of colleges, and she still is actually on the side. But so he wants to follow in her footsteps maybe, but he knows going into this that it's not a lot of money. So teaching is like police, fire, EMTs, military, and a number of other. It's a calling, except police, fire, EMTs, and military get paid more than teachers.
Well, their job is probably more important, right? In the grand scheme of things, education's everything. But it's, you have to be willing to stand in front of bullets, right? You have to be willing to see gore and guck. I mean, I don't know.
Hey, listen, you might have a kid throw a book at you in the classroom. So,
well, if I'm just kidding. School or wherever the bad schools are now, Oakland, California, you walking through metal detectors, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Look, and I have my sister-in-law was a principal at one point before she retired and moved to Florida and all that. And we've had wonderful discussions about this stuff. And I always say this, look, I get it. I wish it paid more, but let's also be fair. And before before they even throw it at me, will we take our work home with us? Listen, everybody takes work home with them. I know I do. I know what my job doesn't stop at 5 o'clock, but if you break down a 40-hour work week, factoring in all the time off, okay, and the hours of actual school that you actually are in the building, you make a pretty dang good hourly wage with the benefits and the retirement. Even my wife's measly pay, and she works all summer, okay, we see that my wife makes peanuts and she works more than the teacher. She's there all summer. But we appreciate it doesn't pay the bills. It's actually crap. She's worth double what they're paying her. But she looks at the value of being in the school. She had her kids there when she was young. She loves the job. She loves the people. And she's helping. And that's why she loves it. So I wish everybody could be like that.
Yeah.
And I know there's more people like that too.
And you say, people take work home with them. You know what I used to do when I get home from work?
Don't know.
I would, of course, get out of my uniform, and I would just kind of go sit in this chair in my room, my bedroom, I had a nice chair. And I would just sit there. And it'd be 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and just unwind. So I separated the day.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to bring that shit back into the house,
Mm-hmm.
Although it was interesting, but when you do it, you don't really want to talk about it when you get home, But and then that's law enforcement is a different animal, anyways.
Sure is.
Enough about me.
And more about me.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't want to lose the whole point of this. Just I think everybody should be informed. To speak to the nasty grams I got about teachers need more money. Okay, that's all fine and good. At this point, though, it's about choices. If we're going to do this, we have choices to make. We will lose sidewalk repair, DPW trucks, whatever it is. It's going to. There are choices, and we need to decide.
We already see that we're down on DPW, right? Down workers, right? So.
Or equipment or whatever it is. But yeah.
Let's segue out of that and into this. You just mentioned it, streets, right?
Yes.
So I guess, right, evidently now there's some no parking signs in front of CVS.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So somebody actually wanted me to bring this up today. There's also a couple of signs that look like they're going to go up. Do you know, or does anybody know, for this whole new center design, are they planning on doing away with parking on the right side of the street? Because evidently the sidewalks are a little wider, so it's a little narrower going from Woodside, from CVS into the center. So
this is the traffic calming strategy, making narrowing the entrances. Beautifying, painting the streets a certain color naturally makes people slow down. Okay. All right. Look, fine. I give. You can have that. You're taking parking spots away from CVS where the elderly go to shop.
Yeah.
Where do you want the elderly to walk from? Okay. The back lot. Okay.
How would they like to walk through the icy alleyway on the side of CVS from the parking lot?
Oh, no, they get a back door now, but whatever. That
okay. All right.
Yeah. Go to Winthrop. I mean, I get what. Oh, I'm just going to say it. I get what JPW is trying to do, and she's getting it done. Again, elections have consequences.
But who's making the call on that?
So what's happening is I think the center stuff was based on input from the community. There are bump outs. See, Kurt Millar's indulging us with the information. Yes, there are bump outs in front of CVS. Yes, that's true. This was all part of the center business district plan. So there were citizens, that went to meetings and got involved. I'm sure not enough of people like you and me got involved, because we just want to be as far away from government as we can. And this is what you get.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's these safe streets grants that we get that, that pay for some of this stuff.
Do they take into consideration the businesses and the drop off that might happen? People just don't want to drive down to go to the black strap because they can't park. They have to park away from it.
I'm going to give you the JPW answer that I got. Well, that's why we want to build all these micro condos down the center, so people can walk and they don't have to drive anymore.
But she has a car.
She has two.
She has two cars.
Yeah.
So this hypocrite, Julia Pringles Wallace, whatever her name is, absolute hypocrite, wants a carless community but has two cars.
Let me help.
Are you kidding me?
No,
if anybody listens to her, they're insane.
I'm going to be fair or a little more fair here.
Okay.
If I'm trying to make sense of it, what she's saying is drive when you only have to. But
what is that?
Well, I think what she misses is senior citizens and people with kids who might want to run down the center for a quick.
No. You know what drive when you have to is?
They need to drive.
You know what drive when you have to is? It's a convenient way for her to be able to drive and still say, we should have a carless town. She called in on the the monstrosity on Shore Drive. She called in at the last appeals board and was curious that maybe they could do a carless, condos. She's out of her mind.
Oh, yeah.
To drive for convenience, I'm telling you, that makes no. And if anybody disagrees with me, please prove me wrong.
No,
I want someone to prove me wrong that is an absolute ridiculous thing to say. And to own a car and want a carless community, I don't know. Or drive when you have to. Okay, it's raining. I got to drive. It's hot out. I got to drive.
I got 2 kids and stuff. I got to drive. Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
I worked and paid for this thing. Oh, I got to drive.
Wait. No. Here we go. There's a balance we can strike. We need to allow and plan for cars parking while making streets safe. But the streets have always, good Lord,
Come on,
help
Hannah.
me. Streets have always been safe. It's people that aren't safe. Does anybody get this? Streets are safe. People aren't safe. People are the ones that make the mistakes.
Well, and I'm not aware that we have.
Jeez.
I'm not aware of us having. Well, here's the irony of this all. So let me expand this a little bit.
Streets safe.
Because making streets safe means they want more bikes on. I'm not saying that's what Hannah's saying, but that's certainly what JPW is saying. Okay, so first of all, I'm not aware that we're having a problem with people being struck by cars in Winthrop in any huge numbers.
That's what I mean.
Same with bikes. But start encouraging more bikes to be on the road, because this happens in every single city. They do this. Start encouraging more bikes to ride, and there'll be more people getting killed and maimed and seriously injured by getting hit by cars. Cambridge, they're getting slaughtered in Cambridge and Somerville. Oh, gosh, more bike lanes.
Yeah, that's right, John Gaz. That's right. Fuel on the fire.
But
I'm serious.
To wake up our voting base, we got Lydia Edwards in the state Senate race.
You know what streets aren't safe? These crazy intersections that you come across. And Winthrop doesn't seem to have any. Okay, I think the craziest intersection in Winthrop is probably McGee's Corner.
I was just going to say that.
That's probably the most disruptive intersection in the town, right?
Right.
So everything else is safe. Everything's safe. Streets go north to south, east to west. Everything's safe. It's the people that walk out between cars. It's the people that drive their bike a little too far into the street. It's people that aren't safe. The streets are safe.
Are they?
Yeah. You know what? If you could find the statistics in Winthrop. If this would be a great stat that, right? I hate that saying, but find out how many people got hit by cars in Winthrop over the last 5 years. Can we do that?
I think we can.
So we can if we find out that less than 10 people got hit by cars in Winthrop in the last 5 years, then this whole thing is moot.
Can we
that's garbage. That's just
arrest once and for all.
That's just garbage. All of it's garbage because no one's getting hit by cars. Does that mean the streets are safe? We don't have to less cars. What?
You know what's funny is JPW's, it's a ruse. Either she's completely convinced herself of something that's not true, or it's a ruse to get more bikes on the road. Honestly,
she should run a carnival.
Either she's completely devoid of any working brain matter, or she's an evil genius.
I think she just does this. It's I don't know the lady. And I can't say I dislike her. I don't know if I like her. I never met her, so I can't judge that, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe if I met her and we talked, I'd say, you know what, she's a cool person. Just has the opposite ideas of me. But when you come into a town and you just jump in with both feet to try to change it, because I'm going to change this town. Like the Joker said in the first Batman, this town needs an enema.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So she thinks she's going to give Winthrop an enema. She's going to change it. She's going to clean it up and make those streets safe.
Well, she is a pain in the ass. Oops.
Well, so can we get that stat so we can anybody that tries to fight that the streets need to be safer. We need to have bike lanes. Too many cars. Only drive when you have to. Who are you to say how I have to drive and when I don't have to drive? Isn't that a subjective thing?
You got to put that up. What Hannah just said. That.
Let me see.
Read it.
Gentlemen, let's not character assassinate. Stick to the point of the conversation, please. Well, you know what? You got to go to the nucleus sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes you get to the nucleus of a problem. Right? So, and prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. I just go look at everything she's put out there. You know, her and Lenore Foley. Look at the thing that she put in the paper the other day. I mean,
is that
you put yourself out there, Hannah, then you're subjected to character assassination. But I did say, I don't say I don't like the lady. I don't say that. But you put yourself out there, that's what you get.
Well, when you say
all right, I feel better.
You feel better? I mean, when you say crazy stuff though about when you're peddling bike lanes as a safe alternative for street travel, it is insanity. It's absolute insanity, and it needs to be called out. So if isn't that character assassination in and of itself? I mean, I think we do need to call things what they are, because somebody's legitimized this woman, and she shouldn't be legitimized.
See, Maureen says I'm right. See? Yeah. Thank you, Maureen.
Oh my God.
Thank you. Anyways, I want those stats. I want those stats.
I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. I mean, just how many people get hit by cars, you know, that make the streets so unsafe, or that we need bike lanes because there's too many cars. There's been too many cars in Winthrop for 20 years now.
Yep.
So 20 years. There's been too many cars in Winthrop. I told you every time I came back from the military, the more cars, more stop signs, more red light, more houses, more this, more that. And they talk about progress. It's progress. Oh, I don't know. Look at
going
Bob
back
McGrath,
to bicycles is progress. Going back to bicycles is progress.
Yeah, well, again, that's a good point.
Is going back to breadlines progress too?
Hey, Todd, if this bike thing, if they do it, how about you and me open up a bike shop?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Then we can make money.
And Bob McGrath, since it was his idea.
All right.
The three of us.
We'll cut him in.
Call it Three Amigos Bike Repair.
That's cultural appropriation.
Hey,
we're in trouble.
That movie needs to be taken off the shelves then. That movie has to go. Because none of them in there were Latin. None of them.
Nope. It's canceled.
Squeaky wheels. Hannah, are you the oil?
You can call
Squeaky wheel gets the oil. She's trying to shut us up. She's giving us the attention we're craving. All right, listen. I'm done.
Good.
I was so calm and cool the whole show until you brought that up.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. I need to rant every once in a while. It feels good.
Sometimes it happens.
It feels good.
Right.
You know.
So
yeah.
the moral of the story is it still comes back to this though, right? All politics starts at the local level.
Yeah.
If you know, I mean, we're being beaten at our own. We're losing at that game here locally right now, as it stands, based in numbers, right on the boards.
Yeah.
You know, and anyone can say, "Oh, it's not about that." Listen, it totally is, and I don't want to go down that road again. So
yeah, we'll beat that up next show.
Yeah, next show. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Politics,
get involved.
Local politics matters. It matters to your pocketbook. It matters to the quality of life in the town you live. It matters to the sidewalks and the crosswalks and the trees and the parks and the fire department and the conditions those guys have to work in this community. You guys, you know, everybody wants to give everybody everything, but we don't have everything. So get involved and give us some ideas.
We don't have enough money for everything.
That's right.
Yeah. I wish I had. If I had everything, where would I put it? I don't know where I would put all that stuff.
Oh, if I was what's his name, Bezos, who just built, he had to pay to reconstruct a bridge to get his boat out of the canal. Like, that's stupid loaded.
He's the second richest guy in the world. So.
If I was him, I'd be just walking around throwing, here you go, just for fun to see how people react.
So Elon Musk created a rocket shaped like a bridge just to one-up him.
Oh, my God.
Anyways, all right, we're getting done now. All right. We'll see you guys next Monday night. Thanks for watching. And if you like this, share it. If you have any questions for us, you can message us. You know where to find us on Facebook. And we will see you next Monday night. And I will be a little more calmer.
Peace.
Thanks for listening.